Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Nerd Cultures with the Sons of Glitches. I am John. We've got Remy, we've got Mike, we've got Neil, and today I've got just something on my heart.
Right into it.
Hey,
Oh God.
No, I love it. Go on, dude.
I'm a professional, so but
Are you though?
no, not at all.
He is definitely professional. Just
Any amount of professionalism that was about to come out of my mouth has been ruined from these shenanigans. So, which hey, really and truly,
All right.
So what's going on, John?
What's your professional topic, John?
really and truly, I can't ask for anything else out of you guys. So, nope. But today, I wanted to kick things off by talking about something that's near and dear to all of our hearts and to probably a lot of our listeners here, and that is
Borderlands.
But
Damn.
I feel like you're going to bring us there sometime before the end of this thing.
Oh
you can count
God,
on
really?
it.
You think so? What are the odds?
We're fucking trampling all over your topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? That's what it's all about. So,
It wouldn't be us if you
right.
didn't.
Yeah, that's people expect this, really, I think. But
we don't want to disappoint
the
our
topic I
audience.
wanted to talk about is where it came from, where it's going, and most importantly, what's going on now with streaming and stream culture.
Oh, okay.
Oh goddamn, he just got deep.
It's deep.
Shit's getting deep.
It's deep, and more importantly,
Oh,
it's
out of
something
context.
that name your sex tape.
Wow.
Lord.
So I can remember, and we're all sort of the same age, right?
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
Some of us are older than others. Yeah.
So, right, but
I
we're
think
all.
there's
I
a maximum of a 5-year gap between us.
I think we're all old enough to remember there being a time where, games being even online, period, was crazy, right? It was. I mean, it was just the idea was nuts.
Dude, I remember when they announced Halo 2 being online play. I'm like, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
awesome.
what? You mean I don't have to go over to my friend's house and drag my Xbox and plug my cord in the back of his Xbox and the back of my Xbox? and
But
we sit and
fucking
play?
LAN parties were some of the best times
Oh,
ever.
there's no
We
doubt.
don't need to
great.
make our Xboxes have like corded sex.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, but we definitely remember that, dude.
Couch co-op, GoldenEye, man. That's what it was all about.
Fuck
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
real
so-
quick. Back to you mentioned GoldenEye, and I'd be remiss not to mention this on a recording. Remy and I made mini games in GoldenEye over the years just to keep playing that game with each other because it was so much fun. That literally on one of the levels there's like a window face like a hole in the ground. And basically, the rule was you have to
Glory
watch
hole.
your opponent's screen as he throws grenades down at you and control based on his screen and try to avoid the grenades.
It was a lot of fun.
To this day, I still have nightmares about rocket launchers and rocket launchers only in the stacks. Dan Carboni,
Jesus.
Dude, that was
Dan,
a good
Dan Carboni,
game
if
type.
you're listening to this, fuck yourself in the face. So now that being said, John, what exactly?
Yeah, where are you going?
What? Well, I want you to drill into that a little bit. So, what are you driving at?
So obviously we're here today, and things are much different. But I'm going to take a walk down memory lane first. So we mentioned the lands, we mentioned Halo 2 coming out. Oh man, online crazy. My biggest thing, and these are going to come together to equal what streaming is today, is that even the idea of someone asking me to sit and watch them play when I was a kid, I was like, fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want
it
to
was
play.
infuriating.
I don't want to
What
watch.
is this
Don't
player
you want to
one
come over
player
and watch
bullshit?
me play?
Yeah, I want to
See,
play.
Mike, every game needs co-op.
So fast forward, we've been through dial-up. We've been through, episode 1 flashback. We've been through these things, and here we are today. And you'd be hard pressed to find someone who's into gaming at all that either doesn't do it themselves or know people that do, whether it be on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, what have you, streaming. And so my question is, what brought us here? What is so entertaining or interesting about this that we went from, throwing grenades and looking at each other's screens to try to dodge to where we are today?
If I could interject here, my assumption would be that it comes from a place that we all have a passion about gaming, and when we're not able to play it, it helps to be able to watch it to experience things that, like, there are games that I intend to never play, I don't care about, but I'll watch them. I think that's fun. And then you get to interact with the person and have ideas and have a real conversation with somebody that you may admire. It's a connectivity of people that have created this entertainment that feels very personal. I think that's where and why streaming and edited videos has become such a staple of the gaming community.
So, from my perspective, it's and this is coming from a guy who came to this late, relatively speaking. So, it took me a long time to come around to stuff like Twitch, Mixer, even stuff on YouTube. Because, John, your attitude of, well, fuck that, I want to play, it is still. I still feel like that a lot of the time. It's like, Jesus Christ, I wish I could be
Give me the
playing this
controller.
myself. Exactly. It's like, no, you're doing it wrong. But not even that. It's really more even with, and there are plenty of toxic elements out there, and just like elsewhere in life, you run into a fair share of dickheads and assholes, and people that just aren't worth the time of day. But that being said, the community that is being built in on platforms like Twitch and Mixer and stuff like that, that's a very basic human urge, right? We all want to be a part of something that is bigger than ourselves. That's what organized religion's about. That's what sports fandom's about. It's what music fandom is about. This is no different. To me, it's a extension of gamer culture where we can interact with each other, we can learn from each other, and in a perfect world, we can make each other a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And I think you've hit something really interesting there. And I was just thinking about that a second ago. This is the social media age. So this is where we want to share everything. We want to share our gaming experiences. We want to share all this stuff. Not everyone, obviously, but it's normalized for us to do that. Whereas 20 years ago, it'd be weird if you posted a bunch of pictures, like if your phone was full of selfies. Now it's a little bit normalized, so it's a little bit different.
We used to stand in line at the movie theater, and we used to go to comic book stores more frequently. It's the interaction with the geeks, and you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. This is where nerd culture lives in the 21st century. In 2019,
Yeah.
This is where we are. And if you look at what people are putting out there on Twitch, it's not just video games. People are just on there. They're playing tabletop RPGs. Dungeons and Dragons has consistently high viewership.
And I literally just saw somebody streaming that normally I'll watch them play game stuff, but they were streaming something called Just Chatting, and I swear to God, they were at a diner ordering breakfast, and breakfast was being thrown on the table for them while they were streaming, and they were just chatting about stuff, and it was just categorized as Just Chatting. And so that's
kind of fun.
There are I have plenty of streamers that I follow. One of our community members, and I'll give him a plug because he does a badass stream, and I love the guy. Professor Silver.
Ah, yes.
Will do Just Chatting segments during his streams, and they're fucking great. He talks to other streamers.
Cool.
He gives advice, takes feedback. Very interactive and very interesting stuff, and he can have a meaningful conversation about what can make other people better at what they do and what can make him produce a better product through that avenue. And so there's really something. The reason I came around to Twitch in the first place was because I really started spending some time there and looking at this and thinking, okay, I finally get it. I get the potential of the platform. And as big as something like Twitch is, it can be so much bigger, and it can be so much more than what it is right now. That this is where we're going. This is it. I would wager a fair amount that in a few years, Twitch or whatever supersedes it is going to be bigger than Facebook. It's going to be bigger than Instagram, Twitter, all that shit put together, because there's a level of interactivity on a platform like Twitch that human beings just want, that you can't, you simply don't have that on Facebook. You don't have it on Instagram.
It's not for everybody. Absolutely
No, it's not
for everybody.
It's not.
For example, you've come around to it. I have not. I don't care for Twitch, to be perfectly honest. I enjoy streaming. I enjoy interacting with the community. But at the end of the day, I prefer something that somebody has taken 2 hours worth of recording and having a good time in a game and condensing it down to 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe of a all highlights experience. I want all the fun and none of the in between. So I don't really care about that interactivity. It's more for me they're playing a game in a different way and having a good time. So it's certainly as valuable as I think Twitch is for the gaming community, because you do have that connection. I think that old media, at least a form of old media, still very much has a role to play. And then even after that, you can get the comments and everything. It becomes a social media platform afterward, and you can certainly follow up on it. But the options of how and what you can consume watching other people play video games is fucking awesome. We're in an age that you can literally make a living doing what you love doing.
And then something else you said there is that we're in an age of, like, it's a different time of games. Like, originally you were saying, oh, well, you'd go over to a friend's house and they said, oh, watch me play. You're like, no, fuck you, give me the controller. I think that's part of that is because of the games we played then. Back then there was, they're fairly linear, and for a decent reason.
Yeah, sure.
Don't get me wrong, there's games, there were exceptions to that, but they were fairly linear. And I think there's a lot of games out there where it's very fun. Like, I think this started around the time of Skyrim, as weird as that is to bring that game up here, but
Probably the third
started
podcast that we have.
this but the game was so dense of stuff to find, and you could because of the way the class system worked, it opened up different avenues of what you would find at what times and stuff, that I literally subscribed to a podcast for a little while where they discussed their Skyrim adventures, because I was just craving more of it, and having them just talk about what happened in their game.
Yeah, John,
Skyrim
you obviously had
was so different.
angle on this, otherwise he wouldn't have brought it up. So what do you think?
So I think that everyone's right, and I think that the idea kind of is that all these things play a role. So
Sure.
in years past, if we got stuck on a level, what do? We bang our head against the wall, or we go to the store and buy the Prima guide, right? You remember these things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I still love Prima guides, man. I got one for Witcher. I got one for Witcher 3 and Skyrim sitting
I
right
have two
over
sitting
there.
right next to me. One for Kingdom Hearts and one for Kingdom Hearts 2.
See there?
On
I
the
don't
think
boat.
is it Prima,
On
or
the
this is a different company that just said they weren't doing those anymore?
Brady, I believe.
I mean,
Mine
whatever the case
mine
may
both
be.
say Prima on them.
So back in the day, back before the time of the stream, right? This is what we did. We get stuck on a level. This is what we did. Now what do? We go over to YouTube, right? And
How the fuck do you do this?
and we look up a video, and somebody shows us just how awful we are at the game that we're playing, and how to do it the right
And how to
way.
play and how to get good.
I think that's an outlet. Guides and things of
Yeah,
this
that's
nature.
a whole other side of YouTube. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that as Remy said, sort of a highlight reel video that is a stream, or a not even necessarily a live stream, but a recording that is confined to only the good parts, right? The good parts.
Yeah.
And so that way, when you're watching, you're just simply entertained, and there's nothing extra. And yes, you can get some comments and things on YouTube, but you can't make an argument that YouTube is similar to Twitch in the
Oh
community.
no, not by a long shot.
Well,
Right,
so shockingly, Remy and I are not on the same page about Twitch versus YouTube. But I know. I'm sure everybody will just be flabbergasted to hear this. Well, but so see, Remy, you're coming at this from the exact opposite point of view of me, in the sense that the reason that I like Twitch so much more than YouTube is because the interaction with the person producing the content in real time is the fun for me. That's what I enjoy. I like being able to see that process. I like being able to be involved in it. I like being able to, in some cases, if you're, depending on the streamer you're watching, you can hop into the game with them. You can become part of the content. So I think that is why, to me at least, Twitch is a much more compelling platform than something like YouTube. When I look at, well, let me finish my thought and then we can argue.
Fair enough.
So it's what we do, man.
I know.
When I look at YouTube, I look at YouTube as kind of just a video dumping ground for the universe, and there's tons of quality stuff, there's tons of shit, and it all just gets dumped into this gigantic abyss of nothingness and just piled up and piled up and piled up and piled up until it flows out of the cracks on the top and spills over, drowning us all in molten crap. And okay, that got away from me a little bit, but you know what I mean. This idea that 300 odd hours of footage are uploaded to YouTube every minute. To put anything into that ocean, to me, is a drop in the bucket, because you're just sort of putting it there and being like, okay, here it is. Find it, don't. Like it, don't. Comment on it, don't. At least with a platform like Twitch, you got to be there. You got to be at your computer. You got to be at your PS4 or your Xbox or whatever, and you're there. You're actively making it, and only the people that are there and actively making it are the ones who are alongside you and who are sort of competing for that audience share. And that to me is a lot more interesting and a lot more dynamic.
Sure, I can see that. But what we're talking about, okay, so John,
real quick before you go off, because we're gonna get to a different tangent before you. But part of that is what he's talking about, where it's the bit of a gamification of that, of like, oh, am I going to be here for the cool thing that's going to happen? And it's, a bit of a gamble, like whether it's going to happen that night or not. But when it does, it's exciting because it's different. It's unique. Oh crap, that's weird that happened to him.
Are we talking nip slips?
Yeah, we're talking about
that
nip
actually, that could be part of it.
Or,
or
twerking.
Mike taking his shirt off.
What? Hey, look. Okay, all right.
I'm not letting you get too far away from this topic because I got to refute to that.
Okay, that's fine.
And so,
however,
yes, Remy, you're right. Those things, I know what you're gonna say. Those things can be caught, and that's why you want that refined fit, so you always get those. Not everybody feels that way. Some people like to be there for all the little bits, and you get the in jokes that way. Maybe something that wouldn't have gotten.
Not what I was gonna say, but okay. I can understand that.
So I think there's a gamification some people like, and I think that's where you get that on that.
All right, so Remy, you present your counter argument. I'll take it and ignore it like we always do with each other's counter arguments, and then we'll just go on.
And then continue with our lives.
And then we'll keep on being friends. We'll go about our business. But you present your counter argument, then I can explain why I took my shirt off on Twitch. Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so John and I were kind of the main perpetrators of this conversation, if I remember correctly. The difference between cable TV and streaming. So I enjoy to be able to consume content whenever the fuck I want. I don't want to be there at Thursday night, 8 o'clock, whatever time the show is running. I want to see the video when I can consume it. I consume a lot of media, but I don't have time to commit to say, well, shit, I'll absolutely be there at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. So not only do I get the best of that stream, like, for example, I follow the Achievement Hunter guys. They do streams all the time. I never watch them. Ever. But when they make those streams into a video, give it to me. I'm all about it, because I don't get any of the in-between boring, the game's getting set up. It's the highlight reel. It's the cream of the crop. It's the best of what happened. I get to enjoy it in my own time. And I do. And I consume the hell out of it. But to me, I'd rather get the highlight reel, the best of the best, rather than sit through the minutia of the process of making it. It's like watching a movie versus watching it being made, to me.
And,
okay.
And here's
Fair
real
point.
quick before you go into that is, again, there's a reason that Big Brother had a streaming service that was Big Brother After Dark that was just people walking around the kitchen cleaning dishes all the time.
I have no
'Cause
idea
some
what the fuck that means. What
I don't.
What the
I
hell are
know
you
it's a
even talking
weird
about?
fucking thing for me to know about that because I never watched it, but I
Never
know
heard
it
of it.
existed because people.
Are
would
you talking
watch
about?
that shit.
Is there like a director's cut of 1984 that I don't know about? What the hell are you talking
No,
about?
no, the show Big Brother that was online where people like lived in a
Oh,
house together for
okay,
a while,
yeah,
and that was
that-
some sort of challenge.
Sorry, I'm gonna glaze over until you finish talking about this. Go ahead.
No, just all you need to know is that there was a streaming service called Big Brother After Dark where you could literally just watch them all the time. It's weird.
See, that sounds god awfully boring.
That does really sound dumb. But
But
so
some people like it, and I'm not saying like that's for everybody. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, that was everybody got out of that what they wanted.
There is an audience, yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
an audience
So-
that are like, oh,
and
well, I'll
that-
just throw that
yeah,
on while
there
I'm
is.
doing dishes.
And that's
But-
exactly
and-
the point of all of this is that you're both right.
there's something
Yeah,
for everybody.
absolutely.
But Remy, quick counterpoint to your counterpoint, and then I'll explain the no shirt thing on Twitch. So, I am more interested. This is just me personally. I am more interested in the content creator than the game they're playing.
Oh,
personally.
to be
So-
fair, I completely 100% agree with that.
Right. So that's why I like Twitch more, because that person is there. Like I'm, if I'm watching, like I don't understand any of what he's doing. It's still God bless the guy. He's tried to explain it to me like 50 fucking times, and my brain just can't grasp it. But Toma Zero. Does
the
these
Zelda
the
Zero.
the Zelda randomizer streams are fucking fascinating to watch.
They really,
I
truly
have
are, yes.
No idea what's going on. Not a goddamn clue. Like Link looks like a monkey, and he's got a weird staff, and there's a bunch of shit that I have no idea what's happening. But to hear him talk through it and to hear him explain it is just
It's fascinating.
it really is. But I'm more interested in this guy who took the time and the imagination and the energy to put this together and to produce that and put it out there. Like, I want to talk to that guy. I'm not necessarily going to want to sit down and put together, like carve out half an hour of my day to watch that and just sort of watch it like a TV show. That's not the way that I come at it. Because it is worth it to me for that to be appointment viewing. Like, there are certain people I've started following on Twitch who I make sure I make time to catch their streams, because they're good people. They're producing good content. It's fun to talk to them, and it's fucking fun to be in their chat. If people are throwing bits around and they're doing weird stuff with heists and points, and it's a fun communal experience that just simply does not exist on YouTube.
Oh, you're completely right. And that's something that I don't have time for, unfortunately. I think that's what it boils down to for me.
I get that.
And
But
interesting thing you
I
mentioned
consume
about
media
gaming,
much more
live streaming
passively.
gaming on YouTube being a non-existent. You're actually wrong about that a little bit, and I hate to say
No.
that.
I know where you're going with this, Neil.
It just depends on the game and the community. It fully depends on that. And because, don't get me wrong, comparatively, no, there's no existing gaming thing on YouTube. But if you wanted to watch Contest of Champions stuff, which is a mobile game, if you wanted to watch any of that, it didn't exist on Twitch because there's no community there. And it just comes down to who's playing it and where the interest is.
That is a good point, but the relatively speaking comment, Neil, that you made is kind of that's kind of the crux of it. I am aware that live streaming exists on YouTube, but it's one of those things where it's there, but kinda who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's like Mixer has the exact same problem. I was talking about this with somebody in Discord the other day, and we both kind of agreed, like, Mixer as a piece of technology has a lot of things
awesome.
that it does way better than Twitch. The problem with Mixer is that nobody's on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's what it boils down to.
And
Absolutely
oh, by
right.
the way, that's not going to change, because people who have invested years on Twitch aren't going to take the time and the money and the energy to say, hey, I'm going to move over to Mixer, because their audience is going to go, I'm not fucking doing that. That's a pain in the
have
ass. Yeah, good. Yeah, bye.
But see, Neil, you're talking about like I'm advocating for YouTube specifically. I'm advocating for edited videos and VOD.
I know
I'm
you're
not
not.
advocating for
Sorry, to
any
be clear, I
particular
understand
platform.
that. It was just a comment.
I don't care for
that
live stream.
I think it was Mike made.
No, YouTube's just the easiest example for that, Remy. I
Absolutely.
get that. Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that so that way we don't get 5,000 people that play one game on YouTube.
No,
ping
that's
us and be
a good
like, you're
point.
totally wrong, and here's why.
All right, so should I explain why I took my shirt off on Twitch, by the way, really quick, before we totally shift
Sure,
gears
let's
here?
go for it. Because I got a question for you.
Is it about my nipples?
We'll see.
Okay.
Or lack of nipples.
All right, so to give this, yeah, you're gonna have to go to my Twitch channel to find out. Does Mike actually have nipples?
Oh,
The answer is maybe.
My. The answer
The answer
is
might
more
surprise
than you
you.
might. The answer
the
is more
answer
than
is I
more
can't
than
see
you
it
think.
through the hair.
Yeah. I'm Italian. Fuck you, man. What are you guys? I'll fucking shave your chest or something like that? Nobody's
Hell
got
no,
chest
dude.
hair besides
I'm
me?
Irish,
Jesus.
man. I don't have a damn hair on my body. I love it.
Oh my god! All right. Anyway, so what happened is, we're doing a live stream for my birthday. We're playing Rocket League. We're fucking around. We're having fun, and I was dancing around like an idiot, and it's
Naturally.
like, oh, twerk for a sub, and do happy dance for follower bits or whatever. And at some point, somebody in chat said, and I'll bet you anything under the
It was
sun.
probably Twee.
No, I actually. She's the one who pushed it over the top.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I think Milo was the one who asked
Oh, there's
when
a
the
shocker.
when the
yeah.
when the shirt was coming off.
That sounds about right.
That son of a bitch. And so, like an asshole, I say, like an asshole, I say, all right, if I get 2 subs in the next 5 minutes, thinking that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
It's not going to happen. So I got 1 in like 30 seconds. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, he was stressing for the next 4
It
minutes.
suddenly became real.
Yeah, and then like 2.5 minutes later, somebody gifted somebody a sub, and I was like, okay,
Mother.
here, no,
Y'all win, you fucks.
Yeah,
That was
there
hilarious. No, that was
That's
a
right.
hell of a stream. And by
that
the
was
way,
great.
along that road, happy birthday, Mike.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Speaking of birthdays,
Yes, nice transition.
so I gifted you a game for your birthday called
Yes, you
Inside.
did.
How you like it?
Yes,
I
you
didn't
did.
get to catch the stream because, of course, I can't tune in at specific times.
'Cause you
Fuels
live
my
on a
point.
boat.
Well, that's not all of it, but it's
He'll watch
just
the
I don't
YouTube
have
video.
time. I will absolutely watch the VOD. But how did you like it? How far are you? I'm dying to know because that is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time.
So I am. I don't really know how to describe where I am because the game doesn't have levels exactly.
True.
But I'm at the part where I guess Sonic Blast keeps trying to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That part is fucking cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And that's where I ended the stream that night. I've been going for like 2.5, 3 hours at that point.
Yeah,
I was just
that's
really
about-
tired, but.
Nice. So, what do you think of the game as a whole? What, as far as the aesthetic, as far as the gameplay, the twists and turns that you've experienced? What do you think?
Overall, I like it quite a lot.
Okay.
I think it's very well done. I think so. The big test for me with a platformer is always how are the jump mechanics, how do the controls feel, how interactive is the environment, and then less tangible stuff, the music, the atmosphere, the art design, that kind of stuff. The art design on it I thought was excellent. I thought it was beautifully rendered, really, really physically very beautiful game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, deeply disturbing and unsettling.
Oh yeah, dreary and disturbing. and,
really,
yeah.
really creepy as
Color
shit.
palette is not there. It's fantastic.
No. But in terms of the only, and I think I said this a couple of times on the stream too. Actually, I think probably like more than a couple of times. The one of the things that I find most compelling about that game is one of the things that I am unsure about whether or not I like, which is the complete lack of context you're given. So
Okay.
you are dropped into this, what's a dystopia for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And you're just sort of you're a kid, little boy, making his way through it. 10 or 11-year-old kid, and it's never explained. At least to the point I'm saying I have not completed the game. I'm 3 hours in. I'm just saying from my experience with it to this point.
Right.
It's never explained. There's no dialogue. There's no cutscenes. There's no little blurbs that pop up Final Fantasy style that just sort of give you text on the screen to tell you what's going on. Nothing.
No, you get from it what you get from it, and
right.
That is it. Yeah.
So what I got from it was a very deep sense of I guess dread is really,
that is an excellent descriptor. Yes.
The best way to put it. It's a extremely psychologically unsettling game.
Yes.
And the implications of the control you have over the I'll call them husks. I mean they're not zombies exactly. Those guys are the first time I popped one of those little helmets on and the guy in the back stood up. I mean, Neil could probably tell you because he was watching the stream. Oh, I jumped. I was like, Jesus Christ! One of those guys popped out of the box. Popped out of a box at one point.
Have you gone underwater yet?
Oh, I have. You mean?
Oh, yeah.
So that was hold on real quick.
Our friendly
that was
neighborhood
the part
mermaid.
I was living for the other night when he was playing that was when he met that little friend of yours.
Oh my God, that little creature fucking terrifies me.
Well, that was one of the best. That was one of the best and most slick introductions of a. I can't even call her a villain. I don't know what the hell she is. But she appears for 2 seconds in a flash on the screen. Boom. You see her for 2 seconds. It was so it was so fast. I wasn't even sure that I saw it. I just went, what the fuck? What did you guys see that? And fast forward 5 minutes, she just sort of appears, and you just go, oh, Jesus Christ, it's a chick from The Ring. She's followed me into this game. Run! And it was horrifying.
Right.
Horrifying. But I all up.
And the dogs.
So I will say this. I have a big problem with violence towards children.
I felt bad about that, by the way. I had forgotten about that.
It's physically difficult for me to watch it.
Sure,
I really have a problem with that.
And there's some good reasons for that.
I can understand that. Sure.
Well,
absolutely. It is not meant to be a happy game.
No, it's definitely not. But I mean, I can only watch a kid get ripped apart by dogs a couple of times before I'm just like, okay.
And how many times have you seen it? Because it's only been, if I'm not mistaken, it's only a handful of times in the game.
I think there were 2 scenes. The one with the torch and then the one with the fence jump.
Okay, yeah. I think
yeah.
Not to spoil anything, but I think that's all you get. You might get one more, but that is all.
And I would be completely fine with that. To be honest, that is one thing I get why the game did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but at the same time, it's just like I really have a tough time watching that stuff.
Okay, fair enough. And it's not,
and it's gotten worse as I've gotten older. And as my kid, you're asking me to even I get it. It's a digital character. It's a fictional depiction of somebody. I don't know his name. I can't see his face. Blah blah blah. But that is the size and shape of a kid who is the same age as my oldest child. That's tough for me to watch.
Oh, that's totally understandable.
So I found that it's not to say I didn't find it compelling or emotionally impactful. I obviously did. Right. I'm just saying, cold hard light of day. Would I want to play through that part again? Probably not.
Yeah, and there's and it's not just the dogs part. There's a few times where it's like, oh man, I think at one point I made a comment about Mike's little girl creeping up behind him right after he escaped from the girl with the
Oh,
black
you
hair.
fucking asshole.
And right after
I
that,
still
he's
haven't
pointing at me
forgiven you.
going, "That's not nice. You can't do that.
I know. I saw that clip.
Yeah,
He,
it's like,
he
you're not
immediately
yeah,
spiked himself down
Yeah.
a fall, and like
That's a pretty
that's
funny
just
clip.
pretty gross. Like I don't
Yeah.
like,
That's so.
and I kind of
fucked
felt
up.
bad for that, but also it was funny.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the spike
Well,
thing. Even I'm just like, oh God, does that?
Well,
necessarily-
that game though does raise an interesting point for me though, and actually, John, I wanted to get your take on this.
Yeah, John's been awfully quiet.
Well, not just that, because just some of the conversations he and I have had about other games, and like, so John, you know, you were talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey the other day, and you know, there's a game that has brutality in spades. How much of something like what I experienced with Inside, because like how often do you come across something in a game that like genuinely bothers you, or that's like tough to watch?
For me personally, I would say probably never. I'm not sure exactly what the catalyst of it was, but I've always been pretty desensitized to things that bother others. There are things that I could see why people would be bothered, and what you're describing here, and the reasons that you describe it with the children, I totally understand. But for me, I can very easily disassociate things that I'm watching to things that are happening in real life, because in real life I'm actually exactly the opposite, and I'm very easily bothered by things, whether it be sights or smells or certain sounds or things like this, that will put me into a very strange disposition. But as far as media, games, or TV or movies, I'm really not bothered by much, because I understand that it's just media. You know, it's not real.
See, and I sit in have the same disposition as you, John.
You need a soul to be bothered. I get it.
Ouch.
Yeah, that
Went back
hurts.
to the
And the
That
ginger.
cuts
So,
deep.
you know what's interesting is I actually had to really think about a situation in a game that has bothered me like that, and there's been a few of them, and it's only the ones that I'm like very emotionally invested in. You guys both know, all three of you guys know my feelings about BioShock Infinite. That is probably one of the most emotionally driven games for me personally in a long time. I didn't play the DLC for the BioShock Infinite until about a year and a half ago, and there's a scene with the character Elizabeth at the very end of that DLC that is like internally something in me like turned over when watching that scene, and it had to do with like the fact that I was so emotionally invested in that, and that doesn't always happen, but it did there. And good Lord, so I totally understand what you're going through, like Mike, when you're like, oh, that child reminds me of this, and that's just too close to home.
Well, and I mean, ultimately, as uncomfortable as it made me, and as much as I, you know, whether or not I quote liked it unquote, I think that actually speaks pretty well of the game, and you know, that's one of the things
not a bad
that.
point.
Well, that's what a good game, in my estimation, ought to do. It should elicit an emotional reaction from the person playing it.
Oh, for sure.
That emotion doesn't necessarily have to be good, and you know, because CD Projekt Red is secretly paying me to bring up Witcher 3 on every podcast we do. There's a moment in the Red Baron quest, the quest line in that game.
Oh, dude. Never mind. I thought you were talking about the DLC. I'm sorry.
No. But there are a couple of moments in that game that you know, the first time I played through them, it almost moved me to tears, because I'm that invested in the story and the characters and what's happening, and you know, one of the best things I can say about Inside is that it made me uncomfortable. It's not you know, it's not
it does its
supposed
job.
to be right. It's not supposed to be necessarily a pleasant experience. It's supposed to be visceral. So I ultimately, it was a compelling experience to play through it. I don't know if I'd necessarily classify it as quote fun, per se. That's not the right word for it. It was enjoyable to physically play the game. The experience of playing it was something a little
Something
unusual.
new.
See,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what, when I say it's one of my all-time favorite games, I definitely put it into my top 10 games.
Really? I didn't know that.
Because
See, last time I
it
talked to you about
truly-
this, I gave you some theories as to what I thought that game was about, and I think you were still kind of like, not teeter-tottering, but you had unsettled opinions on it just at that moment. And it's interesting to hear you say that now.
Well, ultimately, the reason it's one of my top favorite games is because it was such a unique experience for me. I'm more like John, where nothing really bothers me. Yes, I'm a chicken shit when it comes to horror games, and I have a blast when it comes to stupid games where it doesn't make any sense. But ultimately,
Castle Crashers.
it's such a unique, Castle Crashers and Human Fall Flat and shit like that. I love that kind of zany bullshit.
Borderlands,
but-
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, with that
Yeah.
quirky humor.
Then that's another topic we'll have to get to. But
Nah.
to me, it was such a unique experience. Like, Limbo was good, but this one felt so much more personal. It felt like I was understanding somebody's depression, or it felt like a very, very personally made, I was understanding somebody's inner psyche. And it just felt so real to me, and it was one of those games that I will think about every so often and just appreciate. It's just it's one of those games that I would wipe from my memory just to re-experience it.
You know, overall, and maybe this is speaking of something about me that I didn't know, and it's too deep for a podcast about nerd shit. But
Open up, Johnny.
I don't
tell
feel
us,
I don't
tell
feel
us. Tell
like
us.
when I play a game, I don't even look for these sorts of experiences. I don't have anything that makes me, and not even be bothered as to the question that Mike asked, but to get emotionally invested in anything about it. It's fun, and there's games that are more fun than others, and I would go back and play again because they're fun. But as far as committing some sort of portion of my emotional allocation, I don't know. I just don't play games that way, and I would be interested. I didn't watch the stream the other night, Mike, with you playing it for the first time.
Yeah, I know. It's because you're not supporting the brand, and you don't like.
And you know what? It may be a good thing that I didn't, because I'm wondering if it would be a good compare and contrast scenario for me to do the same, and see.
I would love that.
How
I think so. Yeah.
like even a
I think
side by
that's a
side,
fantastic
even
idea.
a side by side, dare I say, edited video
Oh.
of our reactions to different
shit.
parts. I
Dude,
wonder,
by all means.
I wonder
would
if that
love
would
that.
be something to look into. And hey, we may discover something about gaming and nerds in general, that this may be a breakthrough that we just discovered inadvertently.
breakthrough for breakthrough.
One could even say we
John on the
could
podcast.
discover
Well,
ourselves.
but
Sons of
here-
Glitches,
here's-
bringing you psychology since 2019.
that's exactly right. But what John's driving at there, though, is really interesting, because ultimately, at the end of the day, video games are art.
Yeah.
A video game is a piece of art. So the nature of art is to elicit a response from the person observing it, or consuming it.
Stare at this
television,
photo
movies.
and ponder what is
Right.
art.
But I'm saying television,
I know.
television, movies, painting, video games, whatever. Take your fucking pick and have fun with what I'm saying. So if a video game isn't, I don't have time for a game that isn't giving me an interesting experience and drawing some sort of emotional response out of me. I don't give a shit. It's part of the reason why Remy, like you and I, go back and forth so much on something like what's an easy example?
GTA?
Something like
okay.
Actually, GTA is an interesting spot, because that really elicits an emotional response from me, really violent. But something like Overcooked. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
I love that game.
I know you do, but the reason it does nothing for me, or so the reason something like Ultimate Chicken Horse does nothing for me, is because I don't give a shit about.
I don't
this.
understand you.
But I'm saying that those games fail to elicit any kind of reaction from me. There's nothing there for me to latch onto. So
Of course, and there's not supposed to be.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, which is a big part of the reason that very often when I actually have time in my life to consume a piece of art, to watch a movie, or to play a game, that's my time to, experience stuff, and I have very little of it. So when I do that, I want something that's going to resonate with me. I want something that's going to stick with me. Now that sometimes playing one of those little games is okay. Sure. Playing a silly little game with the four of you guys to, just like get together and hang out and laugh and joke and, be like, dick fart jokes, that's totally fine. But I'm not going to come back to those games over and over and over again. I would never crank more than an hour into something like Ultimate Chicken Horse, ever. Because it's just not there. I would never play that game the way I play games. And this comes down to bringing this full circle all the way back to the conversation we had on the first podcast. I like single-player, story-driven stuff. You don't.
Right. And that's what this boils down to. Of course. It always
Which is why I'm surprised that you like Inside. Because there is no co-op in that game. And it is very story-driven in its own way. So...
What's funny is I did not think that's where that conversation was going.
CheckMate, motherfucker.
No.
Talk
not
your way
CheckMate,
out of this
not by a long shot.
Oh,
but,
no.
You try to... what you're talking about...
Weasel your way out of this one.
What you're talking about is the experience of a storyline versus the experience of having a good time with friends. I am very interested sometimes, and platformers sit on their own pedestal for me. Ori and the Blind Forest, Inside,
Great game.
Limbo, Guacamelee. I love the roguelike platformers. I think that those are just phenomenal games and typically are great to consume by yourself. Guacamelee made a great choice in making it multiplayer, which, by the way, is fucking awesome. We should probably do that sometime. And some of these games, I think, are well designed to be solo. I will give you that. But if, like, take Ori for example, one of my all-time favorite games. That's top 5 shit.
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for pushing me to play that. But I think that game would be fucking awesome with an additional player, and I think there would be a way to work in multiplayer into Inside, Limbo and Inside, if the developer had desired to do so. I think that there could be a fun element to be added as a story.
Yeah, but they didn't.
I know, and I get that, but I still think that there is a place for it. We're running through the same argument here.
Yeah, as much as
Remy, there clearly wasn't a place for it.
As
they didn't do it.
As much as I would like to have the entire first episode repeated here at the end of this one, let's stick a pin in that. And speaking of single player or
Killjoy
or co-op experiences, the real egg of this cast that we need to crack is going to be the teaser trailer for Borderlands 3.
I think I've watched that thing 20 times.
I don't think that was interesting to me. I don't think.
Have you had your pants off every single time, Remy?
No, but I had to change them a few times.
Well, that's my secret. I don't ever have any pants on.
I always have my.
John just made sure he was sitting on the toilet every time.
That's right.
Pantsless gaming.
Oh man, but that, Neil, are you being serious about that not doing anything for you?
No, I was absolutely kidding. I was just trying to get a reaction out of you.
Good, because I think that was the best fucking teaser trailer they could have possibly
Really?
come out with.
So here's
I
the
thought-
thing.
I thought it was fantastic.
So real quick, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun. But was it a huge teaser that was like, oh my god, my head is blown? No, not at all.
Well, that's because you're not a Borderlands fan.
I mean, I am though. I enjoy playing the games. I just
Are you though?
okay.
Well, Neil, you really missed your
Is there any
favorite
true
part,
Scotsman?
which is going to
Like,
be
fuck you too.
claptrap still being here. So real quick, we'll take a quick lap around and everyone kind of give their 2 cents. This is what I see. I see all the old characters, both playable and non. I see.
Well, except for some, God rest their soul.
Well, okay, yeah. I feel like that's probably a given, right? Or at the very least, they don't want to show it in the teaser trailer. If something,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Okay, but anyway, so I see these
Zombie
things.
scooter.
Zooter. I see these things. I see multiple worlds to explore.
Oh yeah.
I see 4 characters, each of who look completely unique to old characters when there's already been 3 installations of this game. Okay,
Which is really impressive.
which is impressive. I was something that I worried about going in. Is I'm like, well,
Yeah.
how many more things can they do? Are we going to have rehashes? Are we going to have whatever? But they all look unique. This is what I see, and I see most importantly, and this was really the highlight of the trailer for me. 1, count 'em, billion guns.
Yeah, I'm a little excited.
Everything about that is the most amazing thing that I could even think of for there to be in Borderlands 3.
The
Billion guns.
the big draw for me, what I saw, and John, everything that you hit on, I am ecstatic about. But the humor was obviously there. You can tell that they're going bigger and better than they ever have, and it's going to be fucking incredible. My biggest concern, because it hasn't been straight up said, is that they're going the Destiny route with the multiple worlds. I hope that this isn't some sort of open world thing. I really hope that Borderlands sticks to its formula because it works so well.
I mean, Borderlands has always been open world. What are you?
No, it's
packaged
quasi
worlds,
open
but
world.
it is open world.
You know, and I didn't
but
catch that.
it's
I
not
know
the
what you're
drop.
saying, Remy, and I didn't catch.
Yeah,
that
I'm
feeling from
concerned
the
about the
trailer.
Destiny thing. Yeah, and neither did I, but it's been a concern of mine since this whole constant world bullshit has come to such popularity. Destiny, Anthem,
but
just
Borderlands was the
con-
one
it's
who
just
started that. In
But
my
has
mind,
it, though?
literally?
not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
no, there's very different things, Neil. Certainly.
Very different things. Because
So,
like I'm talking about the adding and dropping
Okay,
and running
hold
into
on.
realistic characters.
Before you jump off that like it's a given, I don't see much of a difference between Borderlands open world and Destiny's open world.
So like
What's-
when you go to the tower in Destiny and there's 400 random people running around doing shit, you don't think that's different than Borderlands?
Okay,
running across
so
other
how does that affect
players.
gameplay?
Because it's what's become popular with the Division and Destiny and Anthem and yada yada etc is that you always have to be working for the game. It's a loot grinding bullshit fest.
Okay.
In Borderlands, yes, it is a looter shooter. However, you find a gun, you stick with it, you like it, great, cool. You're not doing these ridiculous things to be able to do, like, okay, for Borderlands right now, I could boot up a new character, I could run through the storyline, and I can get into an area I'm not supposed to be in, very much like Destiny. But at the same time, it's not built around an online community. It's not forcing you to do 1,000 things to be able to play part of your game. It's not.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's no limit to be able to do some of the in-game stuff. Is that what you're saying?
In Borderlands,
Yeah, you'll probably get your ass kicked.
in Borderlands, you don't have to have a full suit of legendaries to play.
Yes,
In
exactly.
the other games, if
Okay.
you don't, you are going to be grossly outmanned. Not only by
Okay,
the people that
okay.
you're fighting against, but the people that are on your team as well.
Okay, that. I understand what you're
Absolutely.
saying. I have been that person who was grossly outclassed and tried to play a game with you guys and was unable to. So I
Well,
don't
to be
know
fair,
if
and to be fair,
that's
Neil,
real.
that experience for you, and that was our fault, and we own
No,
this.
no.
100%.
Hold on. I don't mean our long playthrough. I don't mean that. I mean there was a time where I was like, oh, well, I'm a little bit underleveled here, but I can jump in and I'll play this mission with these guys. And what happened was I spent the entire time on the ground. And
Well-
so, like, I don't I don't
Whore.
think that's. What was that?
Sorry, I called you a whore.
Oh, Remy, way to keep it classy.
That was good.
So can the least experienced Borderlands
please,
player here give a little bit of
Let's hear it.
input on this really quick? So, I'm coming at this much more sort of objectively as seeing like a game trailer for something I've heard great things about, as opposed to being a diehard fan of the series.
Okay.
And
And I'm kind of there with you, Mike. To be honest.
okay, fair enough. But you've played it more than I have.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I am excited about that. Like I said, I wanted to be clear on that.
Looking at that trailer, sort of outside looking in, I guess, not being part of the cabal.
That's from Destiny.
What I saw was no cabal. Cabal doesn't mean big monkeys
I
from
know.
Mars.
Go on.
So not being part of that inner circle, rather, what I saw, what I thought was very exciting. I think the game looks absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
It looks incredibly fun and chaotic and dynamic. A billion guns sounds absolutely exhausting to me. It's like
awesome was the word
get,
you were looking for, Mike. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Yep.
I chose the correct word. It's just like I don't have the time or the energy to figure. It's like I could, even if they've been like 500 guns, I'd be like I can't remember that many guns.
Well, I think Borderlands 2 touted 1 trillion guns, so take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, fine. Whichever. But on the whole, it looks. I thought the character design looked cool. It's got everything that you would want to see from a AAA release, in terms of what they're putting out there. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, and I've got no evidence to support this other than industry trend, is how are they going to roll it out, and what is that going to look like? I know Gearbox has a
in what way?
I don't want to see them slow roll it. I think they're much better off.
As in episodic, or what are we concerned?
No. I mean in terms of launching it fast. Get it out there and get it out there now, because there's a big hole that game could very effectively fill in the gaming landscape right now, because looter shooters, Division 2 is kind of Destiny 2 is going nowhere fast, and Anthem wound up landing with a dull, wet thud. Gearbox could swoop in here and steal the fucking show for the year, and I think they ought to do it.
I hear that we're talking October-ish.
That's not all that far away.
Nope,
that's
not at all. I'm down with that. That's
Yeah,
my holiday in a nutshell right there.
6 months.
There you
that's
the next decade of my life.
Fuck yes! Oh god, I'm so excited.
I'll play that with you guys until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out and I disappear into my basement for several months.
So, like usual, got it. All right, very good. Well, I think that is probably a logical place to wrap things up here. Got a little taste of everything, and hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you so much for listening. Come check us out on thesonsofglitches.com. Join our Discord, YouTube, and Twitch channels. Catch you guys next time.
Have a good night, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Hey folks, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, do us a favor and hit that sub button and ring that little bell. You can always catch us here on Twitch and Discord. All the links are in the description, and we will catch you next time.